the Hidden Leaf Village is really worse and also better than real life. And what I mean by that is, from what we know about the Hidden Leaf Village, Danzo reveals to everyone that Naruto is the Jinchuriki, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. And so now, in our heads as the audience, we're thinking, okay, they have ninjutsu ingrained in their memories and understanding of the world, and so they'll fully understand that Naruto simply holds the Nine-Tails, and that nothing about Naruto himself is the Nine-Tails. Like, he is his own person, living, breathing person, and part of the village. But what we end up getting is resentment and overall ignoring Naruto and causing him to be in isolation. And so this surprised me, and I didn't understand how this really happened. So, chapter 1, the villagers hate and want to kill Naruto. Obviously, he does too many pranks, and they say he's gone too far, so there's no real significance to this. But when we know that the 4th Hokage did want Naruto to be viewed as a hero, it does make us want to see how Danzo delivered on his message that Naruto is a Jinchuriki, because it does feel like a void that we have to fill in the blanks now, that the presentation maybe was really bad and people started assuming a lot. Well, let's build from that. So Minato says that it is impossible to completely seal as much chakra as the Nine-Tails has, and so what we see is that he has to halve it, right? So now what if the people didn't have that context? For example, Naruto's seal appears on his stomach, and for Minato that would be the same, because that's how it showed itself on the Reaper Death Seal. But the Nine-Tails has gouged out that part by impaling him from behind. So maybe the people, when they saw his body, whether it was not only the civilians but also the fellow ninja, his fellow ninja in the village, saw his body, they just saw a hole through him. They didn't see where the seal is. And so maybe the assumption is that Minato fully sealed the entire Nine-Tails into Naruto, because the way they go about it in the series, it's like it is implied that that was the case, or maybe that they believe that that's the case. So I believe that all the villagers, while they know that Naruto holds the Nine-Tails, they don't believe the seal is strong enough to hold the full Nine-Tails, and maybe to some degree the Nine-Tails has control over Naruto's body, so some sort of influence. And the way they see the situation is that it might be similar to Gaara's in the sand, where they're just waiting for something to happen. Maybe they have that thought process that something's going to happen like that, and they have this feeling because it happens frequently in other villages. So maybe it's not necessarily a lack of confidence in the fourth's ability, but it is knowledge of facts in this world that, simply put, it should not be possible to seal so much chakra. And so maybe they're making that connection in their minds. So I was satisfied with that assumption. And then my colleague was saying that, but the way they treat Naruto, in the sense that the more they know about Naruto, and from what you see, from the personal experiences from the ninja themselves. So that means examples like Iruka, where Iruka ends up liking Naruto and seeing him as human and also as a sort of younger brother. And then with Ebisu later on, where Ebisu is immediately able to see Naruto's potential and is able to say that, oh, this kid's actually quite special. The same thing with Sakura and Sasuke. I'm leaving out Kakashi and Jiraiya because they know the circumstances and everything that happened, so they should know that Naruto is Naruto. But rather continuing, we have then, if we're going to jump forward to Shippuden, during Pain's assault, we see Ebisu basically having memories of how the villagers think about, well, I wonder if it's just focused on specifically the shinobi side, but how their perspective on Naruto changes over time. And what we see is that they're willing to let Naruto prove himself, so to speak. So their hatred, it feels that it's more grounded in worry that basically that Naruto isn't himself and he is a fragile Jinchuriki, just like how the Sans Jinchuriki was. All the Jinchuriki were unstable to a certain degree, except for Killer Bee. But yeah, Killer Bee and Yagura, to be more accurate. But from what we know, there's always been something about the other Jinchuriki where there was some level of instability or maybe stubbornness when it comes to Roshi. But focusing back on Naruto, his reputation, where it already been changed to one from fear and loathing to being of sympathy for when Naruto couldn't bring back Sasuke. They didn't think about how, oh, they lost such an asset in Sasuke. They thought about how Naruto feels about it and if he's okay, because usually, in the ninja world, a failure of a mission might not mean surviving the battle, or even maybe as far as to say that they care about Naruto's feelings on the matter. And we see that sympathy continue when Jiraiya's death is announced, or when Naruto goes off to the training trip, the 2-year time skip, I think, was it 3 years? But that they were wondering if he was going to be fine without the protection, essentially, of the village. But, they were saying, it's fine. He's with Jiraiya. But then when Jiraiya dies, they don't worry about how they lost this powerful shinobi, Jiraiya. They are concerned about Naruto and how this has affected him. They acknowledge the gravity of Naruto saving Gaara and how that might mean that they can have peace with the Sand Village. And then, of course, Ebisu says that he, embodying what everyone feels in the village, that Naruto is one of them. And we see this further with before this inner flashback was shown to us, that Tsunade herself had to chastise the Leaf Elders, that they still viewed Naruto the same as before the time skip, where Naruto was a weapon, a Jinchuriki, to be protected, but that he can't achieve things on his own and he can't protect himself. So now she is basically telling them that no, this is someone who has embodied the will of fire and is somebody that we need to trust in. And so all these opinions of Naruto we see have gradually come through the series. And it also goes on to fix what my colleague had a problem with, where he felt that Naruto was given basically a sob story, that the villagers hated him, but then we don't really see that hatred reflected in daily life outside of the flashbacks, as if it was something that used to happen long ago, but then everyone just stopped hating Naruto all of a sudden. And every mission we go through and Naruto's in the village, we don't see any hatred from them. So he had a problem with that and he found fault. But then obviously when we got to this chapter and we saw that, oh wait, they had been acknowledging Naruto's feats at the time where he was able to stop Gaara himself, and so they knew that Naruto was the hero of that day when it comes to him saving the village. But of course that was overshadowed by the third Hokage's death. So we know now that, so obviously for him, he knows now that all that is explained, and of course now it wouldn't make any sense if we did see the villagers hating Naruto, because we actively know now that their opinions of Naruto were changing, and they were changing rapidly. So this brings up the proposition, so to speak, of thought. Not necessarily a theory. Well, we could say theory because it's well-founded, but what if the Hidden Leaf Village is essentially a reflection of Japanese society? And what that means is, because Japan is a land that's attacked by natural disasters all the time, the people really need to work together to survive. And so when there's somebody who steps out of line, of course, they stick out like a sore thumb. So how this relates to Naruto and the Hidden Leaf Village is that, imagine the Hidden Village in the same way. And we can do this not just because Kishimoto is Japanese and so the story will obviously reflect Japanese society, but we can say internally in the story that because this is a militaristic society, the entire world is a militaristic society, but we'll say the Hidden Leaf for now specifically, and say that the way they view the shinobi are as weapons. And so Naruto, with going back to Minato, Naruto would have had the recommendation of the fourth Hokage, basically by saying that he should be viewed as a hero. So if we look at the ninja as weapons and we say that, oh okay, the fourth Hokage was basically the top tier weapon, and let's imagine a hypothetical that the weapons can speak because the ninja, and we'll say that a legendary weapon looked at another weapon that is usually considered toxic and destructive in this world, the Jinchuriki, and said, hey, that weapon's actually a good one. It should be treated as a hero, basically. If that message was given and received by this militaristic society, they would not have shunned this weapon because they would have said, we should put our faith in this weapon. But that's not what happened. Danzo comes in and Danzo says, no, this is our weapon. He just simply, and now because of this frank and lack of recommendation from a very respectable figure, we have shunning, where we now see the weapon as useless and harmful and containing a power that even killed our greatest weapon. And this new weapon, Naruto, is the reason why the old one was destroyed. So we have no real connection to the two outside of looks. So that being said, the same weapon that we all viewed as useless over time shows itself in battle being tested. that it's quite useful. And then not only is it quite useful, it's very useful. It actually has surprising qualities that make us trust in it more and more and more. And so now, in that way, Naruto has gained the trust and respect and faith that everyone now cares about if the weapon is polished, that everyone cares about if the weapon is not cracked. Everyone cares now that, oh, this weapon is good, because they now acknowledge that. And so when we view it through that Japanese society lens, we see that basically Naruto, if he was in Japan, he technically proved himself to be a worthy, more than just a worthy member of society, but a valuable member of society. And so he was no longer a nail that stuck out for the worst. And the same with the Hidden Leaf. Naruto was no longer a useless and, quite frankly, detrimental instrument of destruction. He was something to put trust in, or rather someone. And so in that way, the very fact that Naruto was given the chance by the Hidden Leaf Village to gain this reputation, and that it was gained so quickly, so to speak, that is what I find as better than real life. So in the beginning, we have traits that are worse than real life, where because you treat people as like weapons, ninja as weapons, then you're basically looking at them and asking if there's any use for them. And so immediately the biases and prejudices of what you do know of Jinchuriki was placed on Naruto, and immediately he was treated horribly. Obviously, because also as well, the fourth Hokage's death and the many people that have died. But then, on the other hand, because they view shinobi as weapons, and Jinchuriki even more so, they were more open to seeing that this weapon is actually useful and viewing Naruto as one of them in the end. While in real life, in our real society, if there was some type of person that was like Naruto, probably we would not have accepted him so quickly, ignoring whether the example is good or bad, but to understand that maybe Naruto in our world might not have been trusted so easily. But in his world, it narratively, the world building makes sense as to why Naruto is embraced so quickly, because he's a weapon that works in a military society. He's a soldier that actually contributes. So of course they take him in so quickly. So those are the thoughts I have had and the conversations I've had with my peers. So yes, that'll be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.